Hello and welcome back to Late Age Piconye. It is early summer in the year 1 and we have a lot of messages. First up, research in thaumaturgy was completed up to thaumaturgy 2. It gave us mind burn, everything else we don't really need to worry about too much. And then after that we're just going to be going up to blood magic 4. That'll give us blood fecundity, something that we really want to cast early on here, just to get that ramping growth in our capital. And then after that we're going to be going up to construction 5. There's a lot of really great magic items, a lot of added new magic items to Dominion 6, and it's lovely that you can see this on the research screen. The main goal we're looking at here, though, would be the Sanguine Dowsing Rod. It's going to make our blood hunting just that much more efficient. Construction 5 is also going to give us a lot of our boosters, a lot of the cool things we can do on this nation. We can also do Vine Shields. In Dominions 5, it would proc every time someone attacked you, but now it's kind of been nerfed to 2 squares per round, which for most nations that's a really terrible nerf, but for Piconye it might be just a little bit of a buff, because normally most nations you can't fit 5 people per tile. You put 5 Piconye Bishop Generals, give them each a Vine Shield, that'll be 2 squares per round, that'll end up doing 10 squares. You only have 8 squares around you, so you'll do everybody around you and then some, which is just a lovely example of how you can stack really well with thugs on this nation. After that you could do maybe some Frost Brands. You have very easy access to Dwarven Hammers and Water Mages, so you'll be able to spam these out as well. That is very expensive though. You know, Vine Shields, having 5 of them, that's 50 nature gems. Even if you have Dwarven Hammers, it's a little discounted, but it's still just very expensive, very inefficient, but it is something to do, something fun to do that you can just put in your front line. And you'll see examples of this across a lot of these items. You really need to look for items that stack very well, and then you'll be able to do some very cool just 5 thugs per tile type of shenanigans as this nation, which we will see. That's a little bit later on down the line, up until we get Construction 5. After that, we have Hu Jing-di, the General, claiming the High Throne for TNG. We have a few magic sites found, the Endless Forest, that's going to be a Nature and an Astral Gem in the Royal Green, along with Order of the Undying here in the Realm of Silence. That'll let you bring a Priest in there, and you'll be able to reanimate some Long Dead Horsemen, I believe. After that, a few people didn't find anything. We have 14 blood slaves captured in Piconye, which is very nice. I believe we're just 2 blood slaves away from getting our first empowerment now. 2 crippled units died, but that's not too big of an issue. And then we have a battle in the Shade Forest. I want you to go ahead and count all of the deaths on Utgard's side here. They just have a simple raiding force, about 20 people versus our PD here. And they'll be rushing forward to meet the front lines. They just have a few giants, a few herdmen, and we just have these militia with a few archers inside. And right off the bat, you saw 2 of these herdmen died. They're already down 2 herdmen from this clash. Now these giants are rushing in, starting to kill people. And we've got a slight rout from our side, a few of our militia there, and they just lost another herdman. They're going to be trading blows. We should break any moment now, just because we've taken so many losses, so many hits here, but they could also break at any moment as well, since they've taken a lot of damage and just a few losses. So we keep watching. So far they've lost 3 herdmen. They just lost a giant, so they shouldn't have any other losses. We've broken here. So it cost them 3 herdmen and a giant just to take this 10 BT province, which is one of the risks at raiding whenever you're raiding at smaller numbers, because you could take a lot of attrition for very little reason. And all it cost them was a single herdman. Yeah, this usually happens sometimes whenever the game updates, where you'll get a different video than the report. This is what actually happened. They only lost 1 herdman. We'll never know exactly how this went down, but sometimes it is fun just to see the different video to see how things could have gone. So yeah, before they lost 3 herdmen and a giant, now they just lost a single herdman. It's not a big deal. And then we have the battle here in Quinnen. We have this the stack taking the independence. We have a bit of a thin front line of these defenders, along with a bunch of crossbowmen over here in the back. We should be getting that critical mass of crossbows that can really do some damage every time they fire. And then these defenders here, Body Ethereal, they're going to be able to hold up very well. On this side, they have a whole bunch of heavy infantry, a whole bunch of militia, and a big group of crossbowmen right here in the middle. And you'll see our first volleys landing in. It's just to devastating effect. They're already getting some kills. And you saw a few red lines. That means these crossbows ended up hitting one of our Blood Vengeance Sacreds and taking just a little bit of damage there. So we'll keep watching. They'll just be trading blows until this front line connects, and oh, look at that. It's beautiful. Every time this volley lands, you see all these red numbers, something you really like seeing. They shouldn't be able to hurt our crossbows too badly because we're small size and we're spread thin because we're in a line. There we go. We've got a full route on their crossbows, and now our volleys are going straight into their front line. Our body ethereal defenders are able to hold up absolutely wonderfully, and we've got a full route. Now, we can't really run them down because, you know, combat speed 2, but we will shoot them as they flee, which is absolutely beautiful. We lost 5 of our crossbowmen in the exchanging volleys. They lost everything because independents die on routes, and then we just lost 1 defender. We did get a retreat detail from the Piconye Sage Priest retreating to Kepis here. And we've got a few unexpected events. The first in Wolvermore, we lost some population, some unrest. We got a series of unfortunate events that dropped the province income in the Realm of Silence, and brigands have taken up residence in Ulfia. We're going to have to patrol that out. You know, now we're starting to get the misfortune events from our scales. We also have worldwide conjuration rituals are cheaper. We don't have any to cast at this moment, though, so maybe a little bit later we'll like to see this again. We also got our palisades up in Old Gold, which lets us start to recruit some of our troops and some of our mages. Patrolling troops in our capital killed 174 filthy brigands. Along with Royal Green, we killed another 39, which is absolutely wonderful. Madame Fortuna did leave us and join Vettingheim as well, which is sad to see, but you know, another 3 months she's probably still going to be kicking around and we can go and take her back. And this is the troop, this is the turn that awaits us this time around. Starting up with the Royal Green, remember last time we were kind of hoping they would jump all of these giants over here and we'd have a really big fight. But obviously these giants, their stature does not match their courage as they just decided to hold back. They didn't even try. So we're going to take this big stack here and the Royal Green, all of our troops here, we're just going to go and move them over to Perenna. It is a crossbow and heavy cavalry province. But we're just going to be rushing in with all of our crossbows here in the back on fire archers to kill their crossbows with a long line of Baculites and Piconye defenders to tie up these heavy cav and give us a very clean win, while our mages, just like always, have little balls that all cast body ethereal on our front line. That'll be great. It also building into a communion for Claim Life and Mind Burn now that we have it researched. So that should be a very easy win. Ideally, we end up bumping Utgard. They move a bunch of their giants here to Perenna. They take a bunch of losses, and then we mop them up after. But you know that's just a pipe dream. It's much more likely that they all run over here to Royal Green and take out our PD. We did put 30 PD, so they're going to have to commit, but it should be pretty easy with the troops they have around here. And then down here in Quinnen, we just took it with our lovely forces that we watched in the fight there. Shade Forest is the province that Utgard raided, so we're going to be moving all of our troops here in Quinnen up here to Shade Forest to take it back. This raiding squad, they could move to the Range of Shadow, to the Haunted Wood, or Ulfia. If they move to Ulfia, we don't really have anything over here to defend it. We could bump up the PD just a little bit, but it's probably not worth the gold for a province that we don't know if they're actually going to attack. If they move over to the Haunted Wood, we're actually taking a lot of troops from Piconye onto our Pope. This was the guy who was patrolling last turn, but he's going to be moving up here with another 60 crossbows on fire large monsters to kill their giants, and just a lovely front line here that's going to be mostly hiding behind the PD front line, and we'll be able to mop them up very easily. Honestly, we wish. Every morning you wake up and you just wish that a giant would try you over here in the Haunted Wood, just so you can kill him. But, you know, if they attack there, they'll very easily die. If they attack here in the Range of Shadow, we have a Piconye Sage Priest, not a Sage Priest, Prester King, running over here just to cast Body Ethereal. He has a few bodyguards, but he's casting Body Ethereal mostly just for the independent PD, just to Body Ethereal them, and we'll be able to kill these raiders. So again, they'll probably bounce if they attack in the Range of Shadow. And then if they try to attack in Quinnen, we'll just kill them with the forces. That's going to take Shade Forest anyway. Their smartest move is probably to move to Ulfia or just try to retreat and reinforce other armies. So that is what we could do there. Also in Quinnen, you remember last time we were going to try to build a palisade here. Start at this turn with our lovely Piconye Scout. But what we feared over here in Bara, we see this huge stack from Man. We've got almost 200 units. It's mostly longbowmen, crossbowmen, foresters, warden, and axemen. So it's very, very ranged heavy, but it's just a lot of critical mass of ranged troops. if they tried to attack Quinnen, there's not too much we could do to defend it besides like a super PD dump and moving a bunch of troops over here, which we don't want to worry about while we're fighting Utgard. So what we're going to go ahead and do, instead of constructing the palisade there, we're just going to go ahead and send Man a non-aggression pack. If they take it, then we can build the palisade there, and we won't have to worry about them raiding and losing the investment we made. But also next turn, if they end up just evacuating all of these troops somewhere else, we are moving a scout from the Haunted Woods down here just to build that palisade if we have the opportunity next turn. If not, we'll just wait to see if they reply to our non-aggression pack. If they do, then we'll go ahead and build one here. It'll be a lovely province, just a choke point, and we can ignore Man for most of the game afterwards. So that's what we're doing over here with our main forces in the Utgard front. Our Piconye scout is moving over here to Bunkish, and we have just a little bit of a scout network moving to these other provinces around here. And you'll notice they're moving to provinces that will get scouting reports anyway, which usually isn't that efficient, but it is very likely that they march over here to the Royal Green and take it out. And if they do, then we'll lose scouting reports on all 3 of these provinces we're having scouts move to, and these are all provinces that are like just 1 or 2 away from our front line to provinces that we want to raid next turn, and it's very useful just to get scouts there to make sure you know what kind of forces are in moving distance to defend the provinces that you're raiding, especially on a slow map move nation. It's something that you really need to keep in mind, and if we lose Royal Green, we'll lose a lot of that information, so we're just using our scouts as a little bit of a safeguard if they take the Royal Green. And when we take Prenna, Old Gold here is recruiting a bunch of troops, and we'll be able to have a new avenue of attack just with all the troops we're getting in Old Gold. Right now we're recruiting a Piconye Sage, just along with a bunch of defenders. We could also build a temple here in just a turn or 2, but there are arguments, as this nation particularly, not to build temples in your forts, because we'll look at what you gain from it. You could get, the obvious thing, Piconye Sage Priest. If there's already a lab, you can build a temple, and now you can get more Sage Priests out of your forts. But you could also just save that money, build a lab temple somewhere else. You'll still get the sages out of your fort, and then you can get the Sage Priest somewhere else, just as easily. So that is one thing that, it's just a little bit less efficient, since you can get sages anyway. They're good researchers. The other thing that you unlock is you get the Piconye Bishop General, you get your lovely Archbishop, both of those have 100 leadership, and then you get the Piconye Bishop, which has 50 leadership, so you get some good leaders. But without the Lab and Temple, you also just get the Bird Knight Commander. So it's really not that needed to get the temple in these, and sometimes you just want to keep that gold, build a temple somewhere else so that you can build more Sage Priests out of non-ported provinces. So if you want to get hot and sweaty, it's probably not the most efficient to build a temple here, but this is also single player, and if I want more Sage Priests out of my forts, I'm just going to go ahead and build a temple here. But I am explaining that. That's part of the reason we're not rushing to try to get someone over here to build a temple whenever this palisade came up, just because it's not necessary on this nation. And, we're upgrading it to a fortress, so we're going to be able to get even more troops, even more sages out here. If we have a free turn with a Bishop General or a Sage Priest nearby, we'll go ahead and build that temple there just so we can get Sage Priests out of Old Gold as well. But otherwise, that's more of a convenience type of temple. It's not something that we really need to rush to do. Which also brings us to what a lot of our Sage Priests are doing this turn. You'll see there's a fair amount of site searching going on. How we went ahead and checked that is we went through all of our provinces here. You can press F to get to the national overview, or there's a tab to click. And we'll use Wolvenmori right here as an example. If you go all the way to the right, it'll show you what's already been searched there. This one's already been searched for Fire, Earth, Astral, Nature, and Holy. And then below it, right below where the site searching is, you'll be able to see what paths your mages have there. And so what we basically did for every province, like Kepis here, we saw it hasn't been searched for anything, and then we see that there's a mage there that has paths that haven't been searched. So we just went to that province, clicked site search, and we went through our entire national overview and did that. That's kind of useful, just because later turns you get kind of micro heavy, so that's just a fast way to go ahead and make sure all of your site searching in easy provinces are being done. And then you can also check if a province like Range of Shadow doesn't have any mages or site searchers, you can just script somebody to move over there, so you can site search it next turn. So very nice. Like I said, our recruitment here, Sage and Defenders. Recruitment in the capital is actually going to be a bunch of Baculites. We have Holy Points 12 now, which is just crazy. It's turn 15. Most nations, they can't even break past 10 holy points the entire game, so we're really ramping up with all of these Blood Vengeance Baculites. They'll be able to kill these Gamherdings, pretty much any other Sacred they fight with Bane of Heresy by knocking them out, and then anything else they fight is going to have to deal with Blood Vengeance, which is just beautiful. That'll kill enemy mages, that'll kill, any battlefield wipe, which will defend all of our other troops. Just really nice that we're popping off to get a bunch of these, and we're just going to be getting even more per turn. After that, we're getting even more of these crossbows. We're getting our Pressure King this turn, and then we're getting 2 of these Bird Knight Commanders. The first Bird Knight Commander we're actually going to keep in Piconye just to patrol out some of the unrest that our god created, and then after that, we're going to move the other Piconye Bird Knight Commander over to Aldegold, and he can go ahead and just grab these troops that are being recruited and move them forward, start reinforcing our troops down in Utgard, and hopefully siege this down. So yeah, we'll have 2 very high map move commanders that can move around, take some of our troops from these forts that are coming up. Very wonderful. Very, very wonderful. That's all that we really have up here in the overworld, but underground we have a few more interesting things. We're taking all of these Bakemono Sho in the Realm of Silence and the Yellow Caves. We're taking them all onto our Sage Priests, these lovely 2-handers, and they're all casting Body Ethereal, and we're just consolidating all of our forces right here to the Endless Caverns. Very lovely. We'll have them scripted back here. We can't script them to just wait around and get buffed, so we have them slightly behind us, undisciplined. As they're running forward, we're going to Body Ethereal a bunch of them, and then they'll just rush forward, Body Ethereal. They'll be able to kill out these cavemen very easily. And we have a Healing Touch going off on one of our Nature Mages, just to try to heal up this diseased Sage Priest here. But it should be a very easy fight. And you may be asking, Relax Rack, why are you wasting so many mage turns all going into the Endless Cavern? You could take these forces here on Michael in the Realm of Silence, take Underhome, and then Yellow Caves. You could also just use that, and that's probably enough to take the Endless Cavern. And that's almost what I did. But then I looked over here at TNG, they looked back, and I see this big old stack of, almost 100 troops here in the Silver World. They just claimed the throne, so they're probably about to attack Red Mines. And if I move all of my forces here at the Endless Cavern, we'll be able to take out Mines of Fortune or Umber next turn, and then we can just hem in TNG to these, 3 or 4 provinces in the caves, and expand everywhere else at our leisure. That'll give us this Hot Hollows throne. That'll give us Underhome that we could have taken this turn, but it's much more important to make sure we have a very strong force in this caverns, just so we can make sure that we can hem in TNG. It's much more important to guarantee that than it is to try to get an extra province this turn. Very nice. And here in the Yellow Caves, we're actually moving this chief over here. Just in case we have some extra gold left over, we might build a palisade here. We're also recruiting more of these Sage Priests since we build a temple and laboratory. But in this entire underground section, we're fairly safe with our non-aggression pack. We'll be able to just temple lab up this entire place and then recruit Sage Priests everywhere in these cave systems. After that, we might even want to eat TNG just so we have a non-diseased exit right into the middle of their lands. So it's future planning, but we might want to build a palisade here. That'll also let us get these pale ones, which will give us a lot of siege bonuses. We'll be able to recruit them en masse with that. So it'll be a very useful turn here in the underground, planning ahead to get Mines of Fortune or Umber, just to make sure. If TNG does take Red Mines, we might end up, depending on how many troops it looks like they lost in the Red Mines, we might want to risk bumping them in the Mines of Fortune. But if we don't want to bump them, or if we just want to be more safe, if we take a lot of attrition, we're probably just going to take Umber. The only difference is whether or not TNG gets to keep the Mines of Fortune. So that is all that we need to cover this turn. With these forces rushing forward, especially the large reinforcement that's going up the Haunted Wood upward towards Utgard, the days of the giants are very numbered. So let's see what awaits us this next turn.